Welcome to the first ever episode 15 of the Animus podcast. This is a weekly podcast focusing on everything Assassin's Creed community, news, and discussion. I'm one of your hosts, Ultimate4231. With me today, as usual, is Aries.
Hello, friends.
And McCracken Way.
Hello, everybody.
And our guest this week is Mr. 44,058 subscribers himself, Brett, connected from UbiCentral.
It's probably more than that now. But hey, I'm Brett, also known as UbiCentral. I have a YouTube channel that focuses on Ubisoft AAA titles. I mainly focus on Assassin's Creed news and information, but when the game's released, I do all sorts of videos like walkthroughs, Easter eggs, tips, tricks, and even time-lapse videos. So, hopefully there's something for you to enjoy there.
Mm-hmm. Today we're going to be discussing a little bit about Brett's time in the greater community on it and his time on his YouTube channel. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what we saw at E3 and what we want to see more from Syndicate and things like that. So, let's get started. Before we get started here real quick, I'd like to talk a little bit about, myself and McCracken did this little E3 special in the middle of the week, which you might want to go check out, which was a ton of fun. We were joined by 4 guests from the community who just came on and talked to us a little bit about what they thought about what we saw. And so if you want to get some immediate thoughts and want to hear a little bit more from other people in the community than just us, then you should probably go watch that.
I thought that was really fun. I think I'd like to do more like that, where we just have a couple people who might not otherwise be major guests on the show just come on and chat a bit.
It was
I was asleep.
And Aries was asleep because time zones. If you watch on YouTube, you may have noticed that the text for what episode it is has been different for the last few episodes because it's been in red and on diagonal, as if it was plastered over it. That is not a sudden new design choice. That's actually because I am on holiday or vacation for North Americans in New Zealand, and I don't have my software with me, so I'm currently using my editing software to just tape over it. Instead of actually changing it. So that will be back.
It's okay, no one noticed.
I hope
I
no
saw
one
it.
noticed.
There's a red X over it.
I noticed it.
And so those will be back to normal when I get back home in a few weeks. So no need to worry about that. It's not a sudden new design choice. If you don't like it, then don't worry about it. Aries, my good friend Aries, right here.
Hi, here I am.
He's on Twitter now, which we talked
Yay, I did a thing. Finally. It's fun. I get to talk to people and be snarky.
He is twitter.com/Aries2596.
That's me.
Did I get it right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 2596.
Yes, you did.
You got it.
Fuck yes. And by the time this episode goes up, my good friend LWS Rocks, or Shock Atlas, to his music making friends, will have posted the first schedule to the 85 days.
I think it was 86.
86 days. 80,
It is many days.
many days sequences this year, and he'll be posting the first schedule up for that. So make sure you go check that out. We plan to have him on most weeks to come on and tell us how that's been going and talk to us a little bit about that. So make sure you go check out the schedule, which should be up by the time you listen to this. So UbiCentral, since you have a more Ubisoft-focused channel, would you like to tell us a little bit how you got into Ubisoft games in general, or just AC? How did you get into the series at the start?
Well, yeah, for Assassin's Creed, it was about 6 years ago, I want to say, and I just went to GameStop and I was looking for games to buy since it was my birthday or something, so I had money to spend, and Assassin's Creed 2 was on sale. So I just bought that, and I didn't play the first one at all, and I didn't know anything about the series. I didn't follow it. I didn't know what I was really getting into. And then when I brought it home, obviously played it for days, and I loved it. And ever since then, I've just loved Assassin's Creed, and that's why I mainly focus on it, because I really love the story. And honestly, I've never finished Assassin's Creed 1 yet. I bought it on PC, but never really finished it. So I need to do that one of these days.
And now, you have a bit of an interesting story about how your YouTube channel came to be, and one of the only reasons I actually know this is because of what your Twitch username was the first time I spoke to you. So would you like to tell us a little bit about how Watch Dogs Central came to be and how that evolved into UbiCentral?
Yeah, so last year, like what they showed off Watch Dogs for the second year at E3, and I I really wanted to cover it, and at the time I had a Halo channel, so I don't know, I really was losing interest in Halo, and I wanted to start covering a new game, and Watch Dogs was a brand new IP, so I thought, why not just cover it since no one's really doing it, and it's an interesting concept. So I started covering the game up until launch, and then afterwards, like I started to lose interest after the game. Like it's a decent game, but after a while, there's just like so much. Like I was limited to so much stuff I could do for video wise on it. So eventually, I rebranded myself to UbiCentral, and now I cover just all AAA Ubisoft titles instead of just one game, which was Watch Dogs Central. But yeah, Watch Dogs is still a good game, and like I'm proud of myself for learning so much about it. Like that's something I really like doing as a YouTuber, like knowing background stuff about the game and just knowing everything about it so I don't make mistakes when I make videos on it. So yeah.
Okay. Now, one of the things that stood out to me the most when checking out your channel, especially at the start, and one thing you've actually spoken to me a little bit about before, was how long it takes to edit, because you have some really, really high budget and high quality, at least looking, editing systems, and especially the way your videos look. Could you tell us a little bit about how long it takes you on the average video to edit? Because a lot of people who don't work in video production and don't have a YouTube channel might not actually know what kind of effort goes into the average video.
Yeah, so for my news videos, what I'll do basically is start out with a script so I can stay on topic and like know everything and get all the facts right. So I start off writing a script for the video, and then I use a program called Audition, and then that's where I record my audio. And I edit out all my breaths that I do in the commentary, so every time I breathe, I edit that out so no one hears it. I edit out all my mistakes because obviously I'm going to make mistakes when I'm reading through it, and so I edit all of that out, and just it takes about 2 hours to edit down a 10-minute commentary session, which is like a 3-minute video. So like a 3-minute video in reality will take me like 12 minutes to talk about, and then I cut it down to 3 minutes. And then after I'm done with my audio, which I really don't like audio editing anymore, just listening to my voice over and over every single day, it's the worst. Like I hate my voice. But after I'm done with that, I use a program called Premiere Pro, and I edit my videos visually there, and I spend about like 3 hours on that, just editing my video, making sure it looks cool. I like to use different transitions, zoom into articles instead of just show like gameplay, and that's it, just gameplay and nothing else. I don't like that. I like to see something on the screen that changes every so often and not just look at one thing. So that's what I try to do in my videos. So yeah, I spend a lot of time video editing.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of that effort really comes through, and it shows through in the videos, I think, at least.
Well, thank you. I mean, like I said, like it's super hard to do, but I love making videos. It's a passion of mine, and I don't know, I've just been doing it for a year, and I really loved it, and it's grown into something that like so many people are watching nowadays, so it's pretty awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Now, to change the topic a little bit, but recently you put up a video which I wasn't expecting, and it actually surprised me a little bit. You actually did a collaboration with with another YouTube channel, AC Universe. Could you tell us how that came to be?
Yeah, so I've been following his channel for a while, like most people probably have, and his videos are really high quality, so I wanted to work on something with him, just not a news video because he doesn't really do news, and he does like these special kind of videos. So we were pitching ideas back and forth, and I recently did an Assassin's Creed 3 time-lapse on my channel, and he did an Assassin's Creed Unity time-lapse. So we came together and we're like, why not just do an Assassin's Creed 4 time-lapse? It makes sense. So he went in on his PS4, recorded like hours of footage just standing in one spot, and I did it on the PC. So yeah, at the end, I edited all the clips together, sped it up like times 10,000, and made a time-lapse video.
Yeah, that's actually one of the first times that I've seen a collaboration between two separate AC-focused, or at least AC-focused YouTubers, which I thought was very interesting. And I hope to see more of that in the community, because I thought it was very unique, and I thought that it's very positive for the community, I think.
Yeah, like that's why I wanted to do it too. Like I'm a fan of him and he's a fan of me, so we wanted to work together on something to create something special. And yeah, like you said, it's just something you don't really see a lot in the YouTube community. So hopefully more YouTubers get involved and we do more collaborations like this. And not just YouTube, like this podcast right here, like it is on YouTube, but it's also on iTunes, and it's like the Assassin's Creed subreddit podcast in a way. So like it's also collaborating with different people within the Assassin's Creed community, which like hopefully YouTubers can do that as well.
Yeah, it's great. Now, to round off this little discussion, could you tell us what your, as we usually do, we usually ask guests this, could you tell us what your favorite AC game is?
I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but it's Assassin's Creed 3, and I know like some people just hate Connor. But...
How dare you?
But I personally loved the setting of the game, like 1776, where like we got our independence and everything. I say we as in like America. So yeah. I don't know. It was just a really cool setting, and I was learning about it in school when the game came out. So it just kind of like all came together. I really loved the game and the setting. I also loved the weather system, how it was like winter and summer. I don't know. I just liked it, but I know some people dislike it. But you know, it's whatever. I have some Connor action figures too, so get at me.
I have
Not you. Can we ask you what your favorite Ubisoft game is overall, since you are a Ubisoft focused channel?
Probably Assassin's Creed 3.
Damn, that's high praise. That's good.
Please don't hate me. I'm sorry. Like, I don't know, just Assassin's Creed overall I really like, and there's other Ubisoft games that are good, but Assassin's Creed is just on top of everything, and that's why I cover it the most probably.
So this week was E3, probably one of the biggest gaming events of the year. So let's sit down and talk post E3, what we thought about what was shown, what we thought about what was shown from Ubisoft, what we thought was shown from AC. Now, one of the main things that we first saw was the overall press conference, especially Ubisoft's, which personally I think was actually very good.
I would agree.
Aisha Tyler is a very...
It wasn't the worst of them.
Aisha Tyler is a very good speaker, and she speaks very naturally to the audience, and you can quite tell that she's vamping a lot of it quite easily, even if she likes those dank memes a little bit too much for my taste.
There were a couple cringeworthy moments, but I think aside from that, this was a pretty cringeless E3, thankfully.
Yeah, there wasn't very much trash talk for once, which was nice.
I wouldn't generalize to cringeless E3 because, you know, EA was the thing.
I mean, relatively cringeless compared to previous years.
But, yeah.
Fair enough, I suppose.
Sony and Xbox, I didn't cringe as much as usual. Because they're
Bethesda
usually
did
like...
amazing.
Yeah, Bethesda for their first conference out did great. Square Enix for their first conference out did It might be that I'm not that interested in the games that they showed, but also like they repeated some of like they were after, you know, PlayStation and Xbox, and they re-showed a lot of the gameplay demos and trailers that they'd already shown at Xbox and PlayStation. So that was a bit
rookie mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Xbox and PlayStation did really well, both of them, and I think
everyone's arguing. Very impressive how well they both did.
Yeah, everyone was arguing about who won. I think the gamers won in general.
It's a tie,
except for like.
I think they both did very well. They both did what they needed to do. I'm impressed.
I think it doesn't matter who won. There's no winning. You know, being a gamer is a sport.
The people who like the Kinect kind of lost.
Yeah,
just saying.
And if you only own,
I mean,
Nintendo,
they lost the second they started liking the Kinect.
And if you only own Nintendo's hardware, then you also lost. Since Nintendo didn't.
You lost a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but
yeah,
they actually had
show a whole bunch in terms of Nintendo.
I thought Nintendo Direct was pretty interesting, but I'm not going to play any of the games for a while anyway. They didn't show anything that was particularly great, and they kind of
and the Metroid.
I thought Super Mario Maker was cool, but for me, every game that Nintendo releases right now is like, are there enough games now that I'm interested in on Nintendo to get a Wii U? Or
The answer is no.
Not.
Yeah, Star Fox.
Yeah.
Seeing Star Fox actually just confused me because the textures look they're straight out of the N64.
It looked like the N64 version, honestly.
It was. There's some beautiful, beautiful games on the Wii U, and that's one of the things that Nintendo is the best at, making beautiful, complete, buggyless games. And Mario Kart 8 looks amazing. Like, they have that cartoonish graphics. It doesn't look realistic, but it looks beautiful to look at in the tracks. But Star Fox just looks bad. I don't understand.
It doesn't look great.
I'm a bit confused. And they're pulling the hat, like, the Wii doesn't have enough power. Like, what? It has enough power to make plenty of these other games look good.
I don't know if you watched, like, a while ago, they had, like, a brief Zelda demo for the whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Next Zelda's going to be on the Wii U, and that looked beautiful, honestly.
Oh, yeah. It looks so good.
If I can turn this around, something else that also looked beautiful, I thought this was going to be a complete flop. I was surprised at how much I was impressed at this. The Minecraft HoloLens demo, I thought was very impressive.
That was pretty impressive.
It did what it did very well, and I was amazed. My jaw dropped twice.
I'm insanely excited for the HoloLens, and I think it's like the future is now, but I just don't see how it can be applied to games.
Yeah.
Well, any other game, no, but Minecraft, yes.
Minecraft seems like the only game. I don't see why they're showing it off at
$1,000
E3.
Minecraft machine. That's what it is.
I think it should be shown off at like Minecon, because I think E3 is supposed to be for like all games, or at least like games that everyone's going to play, or like the hardware should at least transfer over to more than one game. You know, I currently haven't seen enough to make me think that I'm going to buy this for gaming and not.
Oh God, I'm never going to buy one.
Yeah,
I just thought it was kind of cool.
Probably not.
I just think that it looks epic, but I think that VR is definitely the direction gaming is going, while AR is the direction every other form of entertainment is going.
Yeah. Because it's hard to make AR really work for gaming, because what are you going to do, honestly?
Make
like,
a hologram? You can't play in the hologram.
Yeah.
That's like...
Tell me about the fantastic game that you're going to have where you don't leave your room.
Yeah.
Right? It's like...
You're
not going to go outside.
Room Simulator,
right?
2017.
Yeah, and it will only work for like those Lego-style games like Minecraft that can be put on the table. It's very interesting, but I'm not sure what gaming is going to. And then
maybe I bet somebody could do something really cool where they just say, we're going to make a real-time strategy game with toys, and you can do that in your room.
That's cool.
That could be it.
What the Funhouse guys said on the Dude Soup podcast for E3 was that HoloLens could be really cool for esports like Dota and League, because you can project this arena basically and kind of like interact and see and zoom in on certain parts of the battle that you'd like to see. That could be cool.
I can definitely tell that it's going to be cool for watching games, but playing games I don't see.
Yes.
Like he was watching Lydia play Minecraft. He wasn't playing Minecraft himself.
Yeah.
So that was the conference. Oh, before we move off, Xbox showed off backwards compatibility, which was massive and insane and crazy. And I'm glad that they did it, and it's great. And it's a great little bullet point that they can add to the box of the Xbox. And Sony has announced that they're not following in their footsteps, which I think is very admirable of Sony. I don't really want to see these two just copying each other anymore, because that's kind of boring, you know. I think,
Microsoft can't copy The Last Guardian. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and then they showed off the Rare replay, which I'm glad that they're finally doing something with Rare's desiccated.
Did you
corpse.
know that game the Rare replay is rated M? And I'm pretty sure it's just because of Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is in it.
That's funny. That's funny. That's good.
Okay, so let's move on to Ubisoft and AC.
Yeah. Recapping Ubisoft conference, we think it was really well done, basically.
Minus Jason Derulo. Let's just forget
about
that.
Oh my god, I forgot about Jason Derulo.
Jason Derulo.
Oh my god, I love it. I saw that as soon as Jason Derulo came on stage, Ubisoft stock prices dropped 4%.
I feel like that was related to, I'm just going to say this, the Greek Euro crisis, and not actually Jason Derulo, because there's a lot of that shit going on this week.
I
really don't want to think
that it was Jason Derulo.
That stock people actually think this music person is on stage being bad at music, let's uninvest in this company. That seems kind of dumb to me, don't you think?
Yeah.
But
it seems dumb, but people may in fact be dumber than you think they are.
But is everyone that owns stock in Ubisoft stock people? Don't you own?
Most of them.
Don't you own stock in Ubisoft? But
I'm a stock people.
You're a stock people. Are you? You're not picture me as one of those Wall Street types.
Next, I don't have a cocaine addiction.
Fair enough.
They had For Honor. Let's move on. For Honor was really cool. I really appreciated that. I thought that's going to be really nice. I wish they could have more factions, though. Like, Romans would be sweet. Like, 5 seems like a good number to me for this kind of MOBA light brawler, AI-filled, medieval, feudal, Viking clusterfuck of awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They say they're going for an historical focus, but I don't remember knights fighting samurais at any point.
It was the last chapter of your history book. They kind of skipped over it so they can get to the test in time.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It's part of the Cold War. They, they're this arms race. They just revive ancient warriors trying to get the edge.
Of course.
That's why the Soviet Union crashed its economy,
Of good. The cinematic trailer, what do we think about that? I thought, so this is the cinematic trailer with the bird flying over London and Jacob doing cool stuff. I thought it was very cool, I thought it was very theatrical, and after my second time watching it and my third time watching it, it definitely seemed better, and I got over how weird the lips looked when they were talking, because I don't think that that studio that makes those CGI trailers is quite used to that, and so they couldn't quite get that right, but...
Yeah, this is the first trailer with talking, which I think a lot of people found jarring and form-breaking. So I would say to all of us have watched this a couple times, and I think the general consensus is we didn't like it at first, we liked it later. If you've only seen it once and you thought it was kind of crappy, just watch it again and see what you think.
It's not like mind-blowing hype like, say, Unity's trailer was. And I think that's because actually it's more representative of how the game will actually play. And
very representative.
Yeah, because we didn't do anything that obviously won't be in the game. Like, we know you can do the rope launcher.
Yeah, I agree that was representative. It definitely showed off basically every key aspect of the game they've showed off so far. They showed off carriages, they showed off the gang aspect, they showed off trains, they showed off rescuing orphans from the factories. It showed off a lot from what we know about the game already.
One thing I liked
about...
Go ahead, Brett.
What they didn't show is what everyone wanted, Eevee, and it doesn't make sense because it's a cinematic trailer for the game, and Eevee's a part of the game, a main character, and she wasn't in it, so
that's a little
that's a damn shame.
A little confusing.
But kind of on the other side of that, what I liked about what they did show was with Jacob, I think they conveyed parts of his character very interesting because he sauntered everywhere. The trailer opens with him tossing a guy down a staircase, and then he just casually walks down. And then when he's fighting the guys in the bar, he's throwing them around, and he's just kind of casually walking through and punching all these dudes in the face. I liked how he has that casual attitude about him. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. But what happened to the horses?
Remember the horses! Not the horses!
They're an Arby's Happy Meal right now.
They also have rope launchers. You just didn't see it.
Horses.
Horses! I like the horses.
Seriously, they're probably dead.
Yeah, they're fucking dead as fuck.
Well,
the game took place more than 100 years ago, so I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
That's true.
At least they died of not being put down by,
moving on.
Yeah, sure.
Racers.
Jacob, next we saw some Jacob gameplay, which wasn't part of the conference for some reason, but was just uploaded to YouTube, which was a little weird.
Very confusing.
I
feel like they spent too much time on dank memes to actually get to that part of the demo.
Oh, yeah. Two things stood out to me from the gameplay. I think overall the gameplay was a bit boring because we've actually seen most of that stuff before. They didn't really show off any new aspects.
The most that we saw was...
But what they did show was the sword cane in use.
Yes,
and
beautiful.
It's very disappointing to me that he doesn't actually walk around with it. I don't understand the point of having a hidden sword within your cane if the cane is hidden itself. What?
You know how you can take out your sword in Unity or any game and just walk around with it?
True.
You might be able to do that, and they might
That would
apply
be a
that.
good feature
No,
to implement.
I don't see that. I don't
Probably
see that
not, but you could probably at least walk with it out, although you probably hold it like a club.
Yeah, which was
For me,
disappointing.
For me, I liked when it was towards the end, like they were on top of the train and like Jacob did these finishing moves. It just looked really good when they did that. And I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but during like the masterclass session that Ubisoft did, they said you can actually enter the trains like during missions and stuff.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's why,
to your point, I really like the finishing moves. I thought they were nice, but the actual combat when he's fighting the guy in the beginning, it looks, I forgot who said it, but someone said that the combat looks weird. It looks better than it did in the first gameplay demo, but the actions themselves are very sped up, almost to the point of being unable to see them. But the
what I think it
pauses are gratuitously long.
What it is that it's gone because they want to make the combat more responsive, right? So whereas in games like Assassin's Creed Unity, even amazing games like The Witcher 3 and stuff, you hit the attack button and then it's like half a second before the attack actually lands, or longer, possibly, because they take the time to do that animation to make it look realistic. Some games, and usually not AC, but games like Batman, to some extent, a lot of fighting games will do basically whenever you hit the button, your attack will land, or like within like an unnoticeable fraction of a second. So it makes it feel a lot faster and more responsive, but it does look, it's not realistic in any way. But I don't know. I think it'll be forgiven when we play it, probably.
I feel like it's a little repetitive though. Like we've only seen a couple gameplay like footage and like it seems a little bit repetitive. At least for me.
I found Unity's combat pretty repetitive.
Well, to your point, I think yes, it is, and I hope it doesn't stay that way, but with the Rogue demos, the original ones, were like, this looks kind of crappy. It's got all of Edward's animations, but they gave Shay many of his own animations. So I think that now at this point, yeah, they are recycled, but I feel like they're working on them.
Yeah, I guess that is true because it is like pre-alpha as well.
When asked
they're keen to remind us.
When asked about why the animations look so similar, they said that they didn't want to overhaul every single animation, every single game. So that statement makes me think that they aren't going to change it.
Well, I think that when they said that, they were specifically talking about parkour animations. So Jacob's going to retain a lot of the same parkour. He's going to retain the same walking animation as Arno. Yeah, I think that's fine mostly, especially parkour animations, because parkour animations never change within engine.
Yeah, people free run mostly the same way.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
Needs to be changed.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that the walking animation isn't different, but it's not like a huge deal or anything. Like, it was just a little touch, like in previous games, where I was like, "Oh, that's really interesting that this character walks different from that character."
Actually, I love Ezio's walk from AC2 and Brotherhood. It's great.
I really liked.
It doesn't say whether they were talking about parkour or combat.
Connor's fast walk.
Well, I hope it was parkour, because combat, I think, because that's the thing that you spend a lot of the game doing, so I feel like it needs to be different, because it can be different. Like, parkour, most people will just end up doing it mostly the same way. But
and
combat,
fair,
like, you have room for personality in that.
And
that's so they can show off how characters play.
Yeah, and they've added, of course, a lot of new animations because they have an addition to parkour, which is the rope launcher.
Yes. But if Evie's animations aren't entirely different from Jacob's, I'll be furious.
I would think that's where a lot of production went as well.
I hope so.
She'll at least walk differently. She would look really silly walking like Arno and everybody. They're kind of lift their shoulders up and like... Yeah.
So then we saw the EV trailer.
Which was my favorite part of E3.
That was a good trailer.
Not of E3, but of the Assassin's Creed stuff we got.
She is a badass.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was a bit disappointed in that though. Like, it didn't show actual gameplay, and it was kind of like Jacob's that we saw a month ago. Like, it wasn't anything really new. Yeah. And I just want to see some gameplay of her in like the open world. Like, I really think they should show that. But
I definitely think they're saving that for some of the content.
No, I'm going to get to that in a second. Let's stop right there. I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Cut off.
Bam, right. So, I was just looking at what Assassin M and Six Keys learned about, which are two users from the Ubisoft forums, also on the Assassin's Creed subreddit, what they learned when they asked a few questions of the Syndicate creative director. It's just a few interesting things that what the community asked, not what the professional interviewer asked, and so some of them are less PR friendly, and I thought that was very interesting. So I'll run through some of these real quick. People die when you run over them with carriages, but you don't get desynced, which is interesting.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, and I think someone said like you don't run over that many people.
Yeah,
overall,
I saw that too.
Yeah,
we have free aim again.
Yeah, okay.
Carriages have this weird GPS trail, which you saw a little bit in that first gameplay reveal a month ago. There's that weird like GPS thing running along the ground, which looks very similar to Watch Dogs. Eagle Vision no longer has a cooldown or restricted range, which seems like backtracking to me. Like they were going in one direction with Eagle Vision, and then as soon as people didn't like it, they pulled back again.
Yeah, I think it's just they're getting rid of, because the Eagle Pulse thing, it was kind of a roadblock to having a more developed Eagle Vision, because it was for the sake of progression.
And their explanation for that was that Arno was, not trained to use it.
Because he sucks.
Yeah, sure. Let's just.
And these guys have been they've been raised in the Brotherhood, so there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. If we want to go by Animus explanations. There seem to be far fewer interiors, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's
don't
what
mind
it
that.
says, is that there are fewer, but they're not gone.
Well, there was one in the demo. So
yes,
there are far fewer.
Yeah,
well,
fewer.
Almost
it's
completely
pre-alpha
gone.
Though. Like it's pre-alpha, so
it is. But most of the map should be laid out by now, especially this area. I don't think
here's
that they're
the
going to overhaul the map for pre-alpha between pre-alpha and November.
It's what they showed us, and they're not going to show us interiors because we already know that exists. They're going to show us the new stuff. And since this demo, I will say, was 4 minutes, which is far shorter than what I expected. I was expecting at least like 8 or 9, which is what is typically par for an AC demo, especially from Ubisoft, because most of their demos tend to be on the long side. I feel amazed that it was so short, but also I think that's why we didn't see a lot of the things that we're kind of expecting to see from Unity.
I'm talking about the playable one that was on the floor of E3. That was 12 minutes long.
Okay, never mind.
Six Keys and SSNM seem to believe that the graphics are definitely worse than Unity's, which could be them. Unity looked beautiful, but that also sacrificed. It also sacrificed a lot of other aspects, especially frame rate and things like that. So I can understand them making graphics take a back seat. Especially
if the game looks a little bit less pretty, so that when I'm raiding a house, I don't have guards teleporting in and punching me in the face when I don't realize it's coming. I'll be okay with that, because that happened way too much in Unity.
Yeah, I agree. Graphics aren't a big deal to me, and I think that from what we've seen of Syndicate so far, it actually looks plenty good at the moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't,
and like McCracken said, it's all about aesthetics, not graphics.
Yeah, exactly.
You make a game look pretty, little power.
It doesn't scream out, this is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, like Unity was. Or at least it seemed like it was.
Different priorities, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
it's not, look at the shiny thing we built, it's, hey, this is going to be a fun game, probably. We hope.
Yeah, and at some point they will get back to their shininess, just not for this game.
Yeah. There's no Liberation-style disguise system. So that concept art we saw originally was just us misinterpreting it.
Tragedy.
And jumping to conclusions.
To be fair, that was leaked for one, so it's not like they were purposefully lying to us or anything.
That could have been from like summer last year. And we would never know.
Yeah. I mean, it was target footage as well, so it was like, maybe this is the thing we're doing. But also, I mean, it said change outfit, so that could also be interpreted as, hey, this is the NPC you go to when you want to buy outfits.
Yeah, fair.
Well, he put on, the thing about that footage was that it was he put on a top hat, which is clearly being replaced by
stealth mode.
The stealth mode. So that system might not even be in at all.
I'm very upset that we haven't seen any gameplay at night because it's Victorian London, and I keep saying I want to see a Splinter Cell darkness and light system, and we haven't seen anything yet, and I'm starting to lose hope because that's a fantastic system that would change the way stealth works in Unity or in Assassin's Creed and Victory or Syndicate, but it's not there.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of starting to get worried.
They're trying to go a middle line with Assassin's Creed because there are plenty of people who think Assassin's Creed is a stealth game. Which is the direction they went for Unity, is like, we're going to make this a more stealth-oriented game, so we're going to really work on the stealth. But
it didn't work.
It was more of a stealth-oriented game than previous games.
The stealth still sucked, and it was definitely better to use the combat because smoke bombs were overpowered.
But every time they go a bit more of a stealthy direction, people are like, but I played AC because I wanted to be a one-man killing machine who could destroy 20 guys in a minute.
What happened to constantly telling us that AC is a social stealth game? That seems to have fallen off the wagon along the way.
Yeah, entirely.
I think at some point they realized that most stealth situations don't take place in crowds. Like, at least as far as... Because especially as they got further on, it's like, well, we know that this person was not assassinated in front of 1,000 people. Nobody jumped on this guy. So
I think that
suddenly it's like the actual assassinations kind of have to be somewhere more secluded so that people don't necessarily have, you can have a little bit of malleability. And how was that exactly pulled off?
But I think the thing with social stealth is that, like, we saw the pinnacle of that with Unity, where you have a giant crowd of 1,000 people you can just wade through to get to your guy. And then they realized, oh, wait, this tanks the game, so they're going away from that.
I agree, but that wasn't social stealth, though. That was just wading through a crowd.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what social stealth is.
But, see it in AC3 and AC2. You're going to specific parts where there's a crowd, and you're going to that part to blend in. You're not just walking through a crowd. Know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
There's a little bit more effort in blending in social stealth-wise with that than there is with just standing in the middle of the crowd like there was in Unity.
But like the feeling of social stealth was much more present in Unity, I felt. For instance, during the execution of King Louis mission, some guards saw me in the big crowd. I hopped over a thing and crouched and broke their line of sight. And when I stood up, I was lost in the crowd. And that's kind of what, like, for instance, the first Assassin's Creed gameplay trailer or the first Assassin's Creed cinematic trailer we ever had with Assassin's Creed 1 kind of promised. And that's
it only took you 10 years.
The adaptive mission mechanics and the black box mission mechanics are both back from Unity. Now, I didn't actually enjoy the black box mission mechanics very much, and no one has given me an example of when the adaptive mission mechanics were actually in. I didn't recognize that during
Latouche. That's one. That's the only one I can think of, though. And it's like, if you lose Latouche, then it's like, find Latouche, and then when you find Latouche, you go back to tailing Latouche.
Because it shows a little green dot, like, find him, but by the way, he's right here.
That's like, okay, I see what you mean. I didn't recognize that. Except
I think there's a couple side missions that are like that too, but it's not very impressive.
It's not what they advertised. In Latouche's one, he just stands still until you find him again. He doesn't go anywhere, doesn't do anything, doesn't go to his destination. He just stands still until you find him.
They've had, in Assassin's Creed 2, they had, and I think that trilogy, and probably even a bit in 3 and things, when you turned on your eagle vision, you'd sometimes see like a trail of where this person is walking. So I kind of wish they'd done that. Like, they can keep the person walking, but then you follow these eagle vision footprints. And maybe it's just that I played a bunch of Witcher, so I like that. But...
going up the church when you're going to see Bellic. That was dumb.
We saw some more of the horizontal movement using the rope launcher, which has stirred the beast that is scientifically accurate fan bases.
Yeah, the whole like launcher going behind him thing is not how science works. But what I do like about that is how you actually see him grab and pull, because it's more accurate than just swinging down a zip line, and also means he can go upwards too, which I like.
Oh yeah,
so
and
it kind of makes it
I definitely like that. It's actually it works based on what angle it is, so he actually slides down ones that are going downwards. But if it's horizontal, or if it's as you said more vertical, then he can slide up it, which I think was really cool.
Loomer actually talked about this in his Q&A a little today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he said he had his doubts about it, and he said like after playing it, it actually worked like pretty decently, and it didn't mess with parkour too much. So I mean, that's good. As long as like I can still do parkour and like it's a new element to the game of parkour, I think it's good personally.
Okay. So, with anything else anyone wants to discuss about what we've seen so far, because I have something to say.
Yeah, you said you had your plan to get AC back on track.
I have a plan.
Is that a train pun? Tell me that's a train pun. If it isn't, you failed.
Anything else anyone wants to say?
I have something. Like, I really like how they've been showing off like somewhat of a time lapse in the trailers. I really like real day and night cycles, so it's kind of awesome to see that. And in the recent one, I don't know which trailer, but it showed like Big Ben and like the clock was moving and the background was moving as well. Like you could see the clouds and the clock was moving with it. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool how they did that.
It'd be nice if we could actually see some nighttime gameplay then, right?
But they might be saving that. Like PR might be saving that and Eevee for a later time.
I have actually two things to add. Victoria Atkin is Eevee. I motherfucking called it. Suck it.
You did. Good job.
And Jacob doesn't follow the creed. That's slightly concerning, but I motherfucking called it.
Does he make his own luck though?
God damn it, Aries.
I think, presuming they do both characters well, even if Jacob is kind of rehashing like a consistent character type in the series, I would expect Eevee to be refreshing in that
All right.
extent.
So, let me talk to UbiCentral directly here for a moment. Guys, you've fucked up the hype train. You did it wrong. I can't talk about what you did wrong, but I can tell you did it wrong because from what I've seen, only the biggest of the fanboys and UbiBlog is hyped for this. From what I've seen.
I like the articles.
UbiBlog was... I do too, but they're the only person I've seen that said, can't wait for November so far, or October. I haven't seen anyone else say that. And there are a few exceptions, like Neo Noga is a good friend of mine, and I haven't seen him be a fanboy before, or in anything like that, and he's actually one of the more well-spoken members of the community, in my opinion. But he's excited for it. So there are exceptions. But general consensus is that you guys did it wrong somewhere, and that's it. I don't think, personally, it has anything to do with the lackings of Unity. I originally thought it might do, because a lot of people didn't like it, and so they were cautious. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's because you took a very, very, very different stance this year with how you were showing off gameplay and how you were showing off things. So I think that I might just know how to get this hype train back on the tracks. Here's how you do it. Friday, July 17th, you give us an Eevee teaser. We get several quick shots of her being a badass, and then, so just several quick shots, similar to the very, very start of how they showed off the Eevee gameplay trailer. Several quick shots. So you can imagine that, several quick shots of her doing crazy things, stuff like that. And then we get, you get either 2 days, and when we cut to black, or a date, or something like that, and then it cuts back, like just as you're about to leave, and we see a train leaving the station, and in very, very small letters, you have the letters HYPE on the train. Okay? I know you love your dank memes, Ubisoft. Aisha Tyler has shown us that you love them dank memes. That would be the best dank meme. Come on now. So, 2 days from then, I love how you love to put up either trailers and information either on Friday or on Monday. So that would be Friday, July 17th. Then, the next Monday, July 20th, we get a full EV gameplay trailer, okay? We see hints of an EV exclusive storyline. We see her being a fucking badass. We see her using stealth. We haven't seen a lot of stealth yet. And she would be the best to show off stealth. Because that's what she's supposed to focus on. We've only seen her combat, but she's supposed to be the stealthy one. Like, what? Okay, well, she's also a complete badass and destroys people. And, okay, this is the big part. Release. You know how when Syndicate was first announced, they released a whole bunch of wallpapers with Jacob. Do the same for Evie. Do it. Come on now, Ubisoft. What are you trying to do here? Okay? So those two are right in between, those 2 days are right in between here and Gamescom. Then at Gamescom, you give us a full gameplay showing both of the twins. Show us the duality. Show us how it's supposed to be, how we'll switch between them. Show us either a side mission where they both are used, or show us 2 side missions with both of them. Okay? Guys, Ubisoft, you're treating Evie like she's a second-rate character in this, okay? Is that actually what she is? We understand there's a 75-25 split in content between them, but either commit to the full thing and treat them like 50-50, and they're both big parts of the game, or only show us Jacob and stop giving us random crappy hints. I'm not excited to see more, I just want to see more of Evie, and that's it. I want to see what this other big chunk of the game is. I'm sick of you guys just teasing us around. It's kind of annoying, actually. It's not exciting, it's not hype building. It's just annoying. Like, think about how GTA 5 handled it with their 3 characters. Every single piece of promotional material showed all 3. Each one had their own individual trailer. And yet, in all the posters and everything, Evie's either in the back, on the box art, for example, she's behind Jacob, or she's just not there at all in most of the posters and things. Like, it's just annoying. I'm not even like, this isn't even SJW or anything like that, like, more women representation. It's just kind of annoying, in my opinion, because I'm actually bored of these all-male, charming guys that are kind of brash and things like that. Connor, not you, Vagdon Negadoon in AC3 was the most interesting character we've ever had. And yet because you didn't quite do it quite right and handle his story quite right, most people didn't like it. And after most people didn't like it, you've shielded away from that idea completely. Like, what? And now we have someone else, Evie, who seems more like an interesting character than Jacob, who seems like another Arno, another Ezio, another Edward. Even Edward even Edward had some depth to him, but not quite enough, especially in the promotional material, to make me go like, I really want to learn more about this character. And yet now we have Evie, who seems, she's very, very mysterious. We've barely seen anything of her, but I want to see more of her. I want to learn about what her motivations are, and we haven't yet. And you guys are acting like she's not going to be in the game at all. Like, with the box art I mentioned, she's slightly in the back. Now, there are 2 interpretations of this. She's either, 1, not the main character, or 2, she's actually not up front about it, and about her combat, and she's not up in the front, up in your face. She's up in the back in the shadows. But I think that second one, which I hope you're meaning, would make more sense if you didn't have the rest of their gang in behind her as well. You know? She currently, I think someone actually pointed out after the cinematic trailer came out, that guy with giant pickaxe has had more screen time than Evie. And she's supposed to be a major part of the game. I'm a bit confused here, Ubisoft. I don't know what you're doing. But I think if you follow that plan, we should be able to get this hype train back on track before Gamescom.
Okay. If I can jump in and say two things. One, three things. One, I agree with just about everything you say. Two, the hype train pun was stupid, and I love it. But three, the cover art, I think, suffers from the same problem Unity had, where we have the main guy or people, Arno, and then Jacob and Evie, and then other people who are supposed to kind of represent your team who don't really have names, but a person who just sees this game on the shelf won't know that. They'll think, oh, who are all these characters? And Aftermath, very much to your point, I think that lumping Evie in with the rest of the gang does her a serious injustice. And it really, she's getting shafted because she's compared to a nameless, nearly faceless character.
Yeah.
And I recognize that it's, Jacob's got his whole gang behind him, but Evie shouldn't be, further in the background than other members of the gang. That's just ridiculous.
Completely right.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, however ineloquently you said it. In fact, we had that gameplay demo. My actual favorite part of the demo was the little piece at the end where we had the camera panned over and zoomed in on Edie at the top of the tower, and she had like one line. I was like, "Hey, Evie!" And then it was over. And Evie is definitely the more interesting character here. Everybody's kind of tired of having... We know that everybody liked Ezio, right? And we know that your next character was not as well received, but I feel like Ubisoft just makes the mistake where everything that any vocal community dislikes about their game, they just go the opposite direction immediately. They don't try to improve on their thing or stick by their guns or anything. Like, a lot of people love Connor. I mean, when they first announced Assassin's Creed 3, they were like, we're testing the waters for maybe, depending on audience response, if we'll get trilogies again. And then they didn't, because stupid people who didn't pay attention disliked Connor.
Exactly. I don't think that was their fault. I think it was because I actually read a few times this line, and it's Assassin's Creed 3 is the best story ever told by Ubisoft, but the way they told it is the worst. Because most of Connor's characterization was actually hidden behind the homestead missions, and a lot of people didn't play those and was sick of Connor by the time they could.
That really confuses me. Like, it's like people who get their hands on an open world game and really just play the main story, because then it's like, why not just play linear games? There's plenty of those if you're not going to do anything else.
Yeah.
But UbiCentral, anything to add?
Yeah. When Aftermath was talking about like why there isn't really hype for this game, I did kind of agree with you, but I also think there's like another reason why people aren't hyped besides like Jacob being like every other assassin we played as, and that's probably because they're not taking a year off. And I really think they should have done it this year, if anything, because Unity was just a mess. Mess during launch.
I'm going to restate what I said in the Special E3 episode, which is that I personally would rather them have a really solid, pretty well received game before they take a year off. I don't think they want to.
That does make sense too, but like if they made one bad game, they can make another bad one just the year after too.
True.
It's possible. Yeah. And like they're taking away like multiplayer and co-op, which is good. Like they're only focusing on story, but if the story is bad this time around.
Story?
Yeah. But if it's bad this time around, then like a lot of people are going to leave the series because like they didn't take a year off and actually develop a story. So hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
We didn't mention this earlier, but one of the things about the Ubisoft press conference was that AC Syndicate was kind of pushed off until almost the very end. There was the Ghost Recon Wildlands announcement after that, but for the most part, it was here's all this other stuff, and then, oh, by the way, AC Syndicate's still happening. Have a 4-minute demo. Okay, forget about that. Let's keep going. I think, to Connor, I think it was your point, this could be the beginning of a very, very long and drawn-out exit strategy, where they start focusing on their other IPs more, because it's a new generation. You have For Honor launching, you have The Division, you have Watch Dogs is getting into gear. There's going to be almost certainly a Watch Dogs 2 next year. and they have all these things that are coming up, and that leaves room for a franchise like Ubisoft to slow down. UbiCentral, like you said, maybe take a year off and start doing every other year, like most of the rest of the games are, so they have a rotation rather than the same platter of games every year, every other year. So there's a kind of constant cycling of stuff going on.
Yeah,
and I think that could be part of moving towards a more diverse kind of catalog of games. Because if all of your eggs are in one basket, as was the case with Assassin's Creed for years, a game not doing well can tank yearly results. And if it's more spread out between more big AAA games, you have far more safety.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused about what Ubisoft's going for here with their current hype PR strategy.
I've been confused about what Ubisoft has been going for with Assassin's Creed for years.
Their PR is pretty bad.
We haven't had a big PR blunder.
Unity was the worst by far.
We haven't had a big PR blunder this year yet. I think part of that's because they're only letting Kote talk to the press, and he's pretty well spoken. And so no one's mentioned that women are hard to animate or anything like that. And so I think that's going well. But they're, as I think Tyrell mentioned, they're treating us like gamers are afraid of women or something. They are hiding her behind a shroud, and it seems like it's either that or they're trying to get us hyped up for the reveal, and it's not doing well. They're not doing it well. I don't understand what they're trying to go for here. They're not doing it right. That's all I can say. And I think that with the plan I just laid out, that plan was based on my 8 years of being in the community and understanding what would make me hyped and what would make me excited for the game. And I'll just touch on one thing real quick. A lot of people would probably have an issue with what I mentioned, where they have a teaser for a teaser or a trailer for a trailer. A lot of people usually have issues for that. But I think that, and especially with Arkham Knight did this, but a lot of people had issue with that, but it did what it wanted to, and it made everyone excited. It made everyone excited for the trailer, and it made everyone excited for the game itself.
What was that?
That's the sound of a cash register, which is what Ubisoft will have if they make this a good game. Woo. I don't know. I ran with it. It didn't work.
I would just cut that and go on.
We'll fix it in post. No, we won't.
But speaking of that the press conference, what are you guys' favorite games, at least for Ubisoft? Like, what is your favorite game for them that's upcoming?
For Honor! That dude had a cane. Why can't Jacob and Evie?
I love that community manager for For Honor.
His cane was freaking sweet. I love that guy. He's awesome. I want to have tea with him and Gabe because they're both so cool.
Yeah, Gabe is really cool.
Yeah.
What was that about? Like, come to the For Honor booth and I'll smash in your skull. That was hilarious.
Mm-hmm. He adopted like a medieval, slightly Irish brogue for that speech at the end there.
It was endearing. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone interested in Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Yeah, I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Look what's playing.
It's good that it's open world too.
I remember the last Ghost Recon game being received even worse than Unity was. So
this looks the least Ghost Recon of all the Ghost Recon games, though.
Yeah, for sure. One thing about The Division is what I like that there's so much detail in the world, and those car door closing animations still get me every time. But I think the bit at the end with the whole betrayal thing, it's a very interesting idea, but the reason it will never work is because if you're playing with your friends, like we will at some point, I'm sure, you're not actually going to betray your friends because it fucks everybody over, and they're probably not going to play with you again. You're being an ass. For randoms, great, but again, the problem with playing this type of game with randoms is you can't get that type of team coordination. You're going to get a Leroy Jenkins every time because they think it's funny and they're an ass. But I mean, I want to think it's a cool idea, but it'll never work, I don't think.
think that wraps up the episode for this week. Thanks for joining us, Brett.
Thanks for having me. It was actually really fun.
Yeah, it was good. The music can be found in the description. Hey, I changed it. I took out the timestamps part. As usual, you can reach us at Assassin's Creed subreddit, which is assassinscreed.reddit.com or reddit.com/r/Creed, as well as on Twitter and through our email, animuspodcast@gmail.com. Just a reminder that Aries is now on Twitter, so make sure you go follow him.
Woo! Tweet me. I say funny things. It's mostly snarky.
Tweet him.
I'm kind of a dick.
This has been the last ever episode 15 of the Animus podcast. Next week, we'll be joined by the Assassin's Creed... I'll be joined by the Assassin's Creed subreddit mods, because these two...
While us peasants are out.
If you would like to be a guest or would like to ask us a question to answer on the show, then you can contact us on any of the ways listed earlier or any of the ways listed in the description. I will see you next week.